Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. So we are from Group 4. We're going to present our presentation about the Starbucks reinvention strategy, store automation, and growth. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Raka Rekarani Patiara. So let's start with a brief overview of Starbucks, the world's largest coffee chain company. Starbucks was established in 1971 in Seattle, Washington, and has since grown into a global powerhouse with 38,038 locations across 86 countries as of 2023. So, Starbucks achieved remarkable milestones in 2023 with a 12% year-over-year revenue growth in quarter three, reaching $9.2 billion and a 10% growth in comparable store sales globally, especially in the US and China. As for the company journey, Starbucks has gone through four main phases, from its founding in 1971 to its strategy planning years in 1980s, the acquisition and expansion phase in the 80s and 90s, entering the international market during the late 90s, and finally it's the evolution into an industry leader from 2000 and onward. Okay, with this strong foundation, let's now discuss how Starbucks is addressing current challenges and leveraging opportunities. Starbucks is undergoing a reinvention strategy to address evolving market needs and challenges. This is part of their effort to remain competitive in rapidly changing environment. The company vision is to transform Starbucks experience by adapting to customer preferences, addressing workforce engagement issues, and improving operational efficiency while maintaining relevance in the market. Some key drivers for this strategy includes operational efficiency, labor issues, digital integration, and the last one is customer preference. So to tackle these challenges, Starbucks has committed 450 million to store automation, increase training hours for employees, plans to expand to 45,000 stores by 2025 with a focus on China and focuses on customer-centric solution. Next. So to better analyze Starbucks reinvention strategy, we frame the challenges using the SCQ framework: situation, complication, and the last is key question. So Starbucks, a global coffee house giant with a strong market presence, launched a reinvention plan in 2022 to modernize operations, address labor issues, and adapt to changing customer preferences. These include automation, digital transformation, product innovation, and global expansion. So, however, the company faces several complications. Like the first one is workforce challenges, market dynamics, and financial pressures. And the last one is strategic alignment. So the key question is, uh, how can Starbucks successfully execute its reinvention strategy to maintain its core identity while achieving sustainable growth and balancing workforce satisfaction, consumer experience, and operational efficiency?
Hello everyone, my name is Gaisan Ardia Purwanto, and here I'm trying to presentate about the analysis part of our presentation. We use the PESTEL analysis to identify the external factors that might affect Starbucks. PESTEL analysis is divided into political, economics, social, technological, environmental, and legal. And we identified several variables and we also categorize them into observable, less observable, or non-observable, measurable or non-measurable, endogenous and exogenous. We identified at least 29 variables from our PESTEL analysis. And we categorize them into high impact and high uncertainty. And the one with the high impact and high uncertainty are inflation, change in customer habits, and the growth potential, growth potential in China's coffee market, increasing demand for customized beverages, and also complexity in legal balancing. This is the system diagram. We input the strategy we have six strategies. No, the strategy is called Starbucks Reinvention Strategy, which include the four C's: collaboration and tailored marketing, low cost strategy, low cost digital innovation, tailored branding while optimizing cost, collaboration, and customizable processes. While that affects the financial model, there are also external factors. There are inflation, change in customer habit, growth potential in China's coffee market, increasing demand for customized beverages, and complexity in legal balancing. We also use criteria that consist of two metrics: key financial metrics, operational metrics, which includes revenue growth, EBITDA growth, return on assets, net margin, operating margin, PE ratio, and also revenue per stores. And we also identify the goals, and the goals are improving labor, improving operational efficiency, improving customer satisfaction, and also achieving high economical growth. And these are our stakeholders. There are four of them: employees, suppliers, customers, and also investors. And this is the model output of our system diagram. We identified six financial metrics and non-financial metrics also. Like I said before, there are revenue growth, EBITDA growth, and etc., and also revenue per stores. This is how you calculate these variables, and also this is the explanation for the variables.
Okay, so for the alternative development path, we can put the level of input variable from high to low, and then we have five input variable, that is inflation, growth potential, increase in demand, change in customer habit, and also complexity in legal balancing. And then we put three paths for each of these variable from their effect, such as raw material cost, profit margin, prices with local, inventory cost, revenue, and other. Okay, so for the scenario one, we can put two of the selected input variable, and then for the scenario one, we put the inflation and also change its customer preference. And then for the path, we can see that the path two for each of these are the most optimal way. That is because the plus 5% prices with local sourcing investment, and also plus 5% revenue and percent operational cost from digital platform. So the selected combination of path from both variable change in customer habits, path two, and inflation path two. It to match how the revenue growth and build long-term resilience can be balanced through the digital transformation despite the higher operational costs. Now for the second scenario, we put the growth potential and also increase in demand for the initial scenario metrics. And then we can see that in this path, for the growth potential is in the path one, and also in the increase in demand is in the path two. So the selected combination of path are put it like that, and then due to the path mirrors the rising Starbucks competitor in China situation with proportional cost increase. And then for the last scenario, we put the selected input variable, that is inflation, and also complexity in legal balancing. And then, so the most optimal path for this inflation and also complexity legal balancing are for the path one and also path one. And then they maintain a balanced conflict, rising material costs and legal expenses impacting the profitability with a higher raw material cost, and a more legal cost due to the regulatory dispute. Now, for the business as usual, we can see that the revenue growth experienced a significant fluctuation from 2017 to 2023, and there's a drastic change from 2018 to 2020. So from a high point from 11.56% to minus 11%. And then we can forecast the data to 2024 to 2028 that the revenue growth is gradually increasing. Now for the EBITDA, the EBITDA experienced ups and downs for 2016 and 2023, but in 2018 and 2020, there's a significant drop due to the COVID from 6,857 to 2,962. So we can forecast also the data for the EBITDA from 2024 to 2028, and then it actually increased gradually, same like the revenue growth. Now for the EBITDA grow due to like the EBITDA before, it will also have a gradually increasing for the forecasted data that we have already calculated. So it gonna increase gradually from 2024 and 2028. And then for the return on assets, experience a sudden drop in 2020 as well from 18% to 3%, but constantly increase since then. And then for the forecast, the return on asset also gonna have a increase, an increased graph. Now for the net margin, also we have a stable data, but in 2020, it also have a drop to 3% from 13% the prior year. And then for the forecasted data, also the net margin is gonna gradually increase. And then for the operating margin, it was in a stable position, but it experienced drop in 2020 as well. And then we can see it drops into 6%. So for the forecasted data, the operating margin is gradually increasing also with a small margin from year 2024 to 2018. So for the revenue per store, it doesn't have a really different percentage, and then it constantly in a stable from 2016 to 2019, but in 2020 it have a slight drop from 0.85 to 0.72. And then for the forecasted data, the revenue per store dropped a little bit, but it increased gradually since then. And then for the DE ratio, we can see that it maintained the number, it's above zero from the year 2018 with the most value in 2018, that is 8.03. And then in any case, the Starbucks has a trouble dealing with cumulative loss that they experienced in 2020 and never recover from it yet. And then for the forecasted data, it's still gonna be below zero until the year 2028.
Hello everyone, my name is Dylan Pratala. Now we continue the explanation for scenario story 1. So for the first scenario, which is called adapting to economic pressures and shifting consumer habits. Due to the global inflation, Starbucks decides to increase its product price to face the rising operational costs. This is supported by an investment in local sourcing attempts, which not only reduces long-term supply chain risk, but also supports the brand's sustainability goals. At the same time, consumers' preference is shifting significantly as customers prefer to buy products online to avoid queuing. To meet this demand, Starbucks focused on its digital platform investments, enhancing mobile ordering capabilities and improving the overall customer experience through the digital solutions. By balancing these factors, can Starbucks maintain long-term sustainability and success in a competitive market? So for the scenario study 1, the impact variables is inflation and changing customer habit. And for the account affected are company-operated stores, cost of sales including occupancy cost, store operating expenses, CPG, food service and other, general and administrative expenses, and long-term investments. So here are the result of the changes, and here are the reasons. Here is the business impact table, and here's the table for the business as usual versus scenario. We can see that revenue growth and revenue per stores is increasing, and the ratio remains stagnant, while EBITDA growth, return on assets, net margin, and operating margin is decreasing. For scenario story 2, where the scenario is called focused growth target and trends among customers. Despite operating about 7,600 stores in China, Starbucks' sales in China declined around 14%. The company seeks to expand its sales in China and leverage the growth potential in China's coffee market. China's coffee market is experiencing increasing demand for customized beverages, responding to local taste with a broader selection of customizable drink options, mirroring the growing trends for a personalized coffee experience. However, Starbucks has a competitor with a huge potential, Luckin Coffee, which is a local coffee brand. Luckin Coffee has aggressively expanded its scope with affordable coffee and convenient coffee experience, attracting many customers. Starbucks needs to address on how to adapt to the competition and survive while catering to customer preferences, fighting to be the top-selling coffee in China. So for the input variable for the scenario story 2, our growth potential in China's coffee market and increasing demand for customized beverages. The account affected are company operated stores, licensed stores, cost of sales including occupancy costs, international stores, CPG, food service and other, general and administrative expenses, and long-term investments. So here are the changes that are from the results from the account that are affected. Here is the reasons. Here is the business impact table. And here is the business as usual versus scenario table. So the only thing that remains from this table is the DE ratio, which is stagnant, and the rest are decreasing. And for the first scenario story, which is called Navigating Inflationary Pressures and Legal Complexities. Among other issues, due to increasing global inflation, extended operating costs, legal and compliance risk, Starbucks has to address several valuable issues to remain profitable. Rising costs has increased its operating expenses through raw materials, occupancy, and employees' wages, thus forcing its new product prices. At the same time, it engages in difficult legal issues, especially on settlements and compliance expenses in keeping with global labor and regulations. These two forces pose twin challenges that require planning to support continual growth and maintain cost constraint and the rule of law. So for the input variables on scenario story 3 are inflation and complexity in legal balancing. The account affected are company-operated stores, cost of sales including occupancy costs, store operating expenses, legal settlements and fees, general and administrative expenses, and intangible assets net excluding goodwill. So here are the changes, and here are the reasons. Here is the business impact table, and here is the business as usual versus scenario table. So like scenario story 1, revenue growth and revenue per stores is increasing. The ratio is like the two previous scenario story, which is remaining stagnant. And EBITDA growth, return on assets, net margin, and operating margin is like the same as scenario story 1, which is decreasing. So here is the comparison between business as usual and scenarios. We can see that for return on assets, EBITDA, net margin, and operating margin, scenario 1 is 3 exhibits a similar gradual increase results from year 2023 to 2028, but still below the business as usual. Meanwhile, scenario 3 shows a constant decline throughout the year. For the EBITDA growth and revenue graph, we can see from these two graphs that all three scenarios experiencing a drop in 2024, but scenario 3 managed to have the highest point, while scenario 3 has the lowest. After 2024, all scenarios have been moving ups and down until 2028. And for the DE ratio graph, you can see that all three scenarios are aligned with the business as usual throughout the years. And last not least, the total stores graph. You can see that scenario 1 and 3 are aligned constantly, increasing above business as usual. Meanwhile, scenario 2 is decreasing.
My name is Faiza Rahima Putri, and I will be explaining about the strategies. After we map out the scenarios, we will align our strategies to effectively address the challenges presented in each scenario. So we created 24 combinations of strategies for each scenario, including the business as usual, to identify the most effective strategy for each scenario and determine the appropriate course of action. So for the first strategy, we have the collaboration and tailored marketing strategy. And this strategy will have 3 key points. The first one is regional marketing strategies that will be adjusted to specific strategies to local regions. And the second one is collaboration with local businesses and brands. And lastly, there will be an addition of localized menu for each specific regions. And the account affected by the first strategy will be company-operated stores, other operating expenses, inventory, intangible assets, licensed store, and international stores. For the second strategy, we have the 4C strategy, or customer-centric coffee customization. This strategy also have 3 key points, which in this strategy, there will be a digital platform integration to Starbucks processes. And the second one is there will be a self-serve kiosk where customers can customize their own drinks. And the third one is that there will be an automation of processes by technologies. And the account affected by this strategy are company operated stores, cost of sales, CPG, store operating expenses, long-term investments, and intangible assets. For the third strategy, we have the low-cost strategy. And in this strategy, Starbucks will have their supply chain efficiency enhancement, dynamic pricing into certain and selected regions from research, and using technologies to analyze trends and markets. And these are the accounts affected by the third strategy. The first one is company-operated stores, and then cost of sales, and then inventory, intangible assets, and then lastly, the general and administrative expenses. So not only that we have a singular strategy, we also have a strategy combinations. So the first strategy combination is the combination of strategy 1 and strategy 2, which is called the collaboration and customizable processes. And the key point for this strategy will be from the first strategy and then the second strategy, which are regional marketing strategies adjusted to specific strategies to local regions, self-service kiosks where customers can customize their own drinks, and lastly, digital platform integration to Starbucks processes. And these are also the account affected by the combination of strategy 1 and strategy 2. The second strategy combination is the combination of strategy 1 and strategy 3, which is called tailored branding while optimizing costs. And the key points from this strategy is that there will also be a regional marketing strategies adjusted to specific strategies to local regions, and then there will be a sourcing through local business and dynamic pricing into certain and selected regions from research. And these are the accounts affected by the strategy 1 and 3 combination. And then for the third strategy combination, we have the combination of strategy 2 and strategy 3. So this strategy will be introducing integrating digital platform Starbucks catered to the growing demand for personalized coffee orders while minimizing reliance on employee. So the key point for this strategy is that there will be a supply chain efficiency enhancements, dynamic pricing into certain and selected regions from research, and also digital platform integration to Starbucks processes. And these are also the account affected by the strategy 2 and 3 combination. Okay, so lastly, we have the combination of all the strategy, which are the strategy 1, 2, and 3. And this strategy is called adaptive innovation and localization strategy. So this strategy is this strategy will have three key points as well from the previous strategies from the strategy 1, 2, and 3. So there will be a supply chain efficiency enhancements, digital platform integration to Starbucks processes, and lastly, regional marketing strategies that will be adjusted to specific strategies to local regions. And these are also the account affected by the combination of strategy 1, 2, and 3. Next will be strategy implementation that will be explained by my friend.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Enrico, and I would like to continue our presentation. Moving on to scenario implementations. We have 3 scenario implementations, and for the first one, this is the first one. We have 3 scenarios, and we have 8 matrix to be compared. All of those are compared to their output variables. Those eight matrix are revenue growth. The second is EBITDA, as you can see. The third is EBITDA growth. The fourth here is ROA, or return on assets. Yeah. The fifth one is net margin. The sixth one is operating margin. The seventh one is debt to equity ratio, or also known as DE. And the last one is revenue per stores compared to their output variables. So these are the matrix that we would like to analyze and compare to one another, so we can find which is the best output or the best alternative for those scenarios. Okay. For the first scenario, as you can see in the key takeaways, it is clear that strategy 1 and the combination of strategy 1 and 2 stand out as the most effective option across all metrics. Sorry, I have a low battery. So strategy 1 and the combination of strategy 1 and 2. What does this mean? As you can see in one of the charts, or most of the charts, like for example, revenue growth, the highest result, which is strategy 1 and the combination of strategy 1 and 2. So that is the whole point. To find the best result and the best alternative is to look at the chart and which one is the highest performing one. And for the first scenario, by mean, by average, the strategy 1 and combination of strategy 1 and 2 are both the most effective options across all matrix. Okay, that is for the first scenario. Moving on to the second scenario. Okay, so the second scenario, as you can see, one of the 8 matrix that has the most difference is EBITDA growth, the third matrix, as you can see here. So because it is the most sensitive one, the most important one, as you can see, we can look at the key takeaways that the most effective one is the combination of all 3 strategies, strategy 1 and 2 and 3 combined. And as you can see, it is true by the graph, the charts. Strategy 1, 2, and 3 combined averagely resulted better than any other strategies individually or any other combinations. Okay. So the first scenario is strategy 1 and combination of 1 and 2. The second scenario is combination of all those 3 variables. How about scenario 3? So the third scenario, as you can see, the third chart, EBITDA growth, has the most differences again. but it turns out the same. Quite or less the same, because a combination of strategy 1, 2, and 3 provides the best outcomes and results in all matrix and all 8 matrix compared to each individually or any other combinations. So yeah, that's how we compare the scenario implementations and the results of the scenario implementations. I think that's all for my part, and will be continued by my friends. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Fahira Mozaiftina, and I'm going to continue the presentation into decision metrics. So we use this decision metrics to determine which strategy to implement into each of our scenarios that we come up with. So this decision matrix is used to evaluate and prioritize a list of strategies that we have. We have 7 strategies, and we apply them to our 3 scenarios and the base model. And first, before we conduct the decision metrics, we first establish a list of weighted criteria and then evaluate each option against those criteria. So here we can see that for every scenarios in the matrix are assigned 2 weights specifically to that scenario. So the weight criterion is distributed based on each scenario stories and information. So for example, in the scenario 1, Starbucks is looking to implement a digital investment. So in this case, revenue growth and profitability metrics like EBITDA and net margin are assigned a higher weight. And in this scenario 2, Starbucks is looking to recover its market in China because the revenue there is not up to par with the amount of stores there. So we can see that revenue growth is still the highest weight, and there are a decrease in EBITDA because the Starbucks is currently trying to recover its market. And then for scenario 3, Starbucks is looking to do a low-cost strategy. So there are a decrease in revenue growth metrics, for example, and an increase in operating margin metrics because Starbucks are currently looking, in this scenario, looking to optimize its operations. So the operating margin are the one they're looking to. Next. Okay, so this is the business as usual decision matrix. So we apply our 7 strategy plus 1 strategy to do nothing to the base model to see which strategy would be best to implement in this business as usual. So we can see that there are ranks. This 1 to 8 in the below matrix of the in the table is ranked from 1 to 8, with 1 being the worst and 8 being the best. And then in the total weighted result, it is calculated with by being multiplied and then added by the weights assigned. And then on the right column, there are ranks again with 1 to 8, but this time it is 1 being the best and 8 being the worst to rank the total weighted result. So the biggest would be first. So we can see that for the business as usual, the most impactful strategies are strategy 1 for the singular strategy, or only doing strategy 1, 2, or 3. And then for the combination strategy, strategy 1 and 2, the combination of strategy 1 and 2 is the best combined strategy. This is the decision matrix for scenario 1. So we can see that in the ranks for singular strategy, strategy 1 is still the best strategy, and for the combined strategy is still strategy 1 and 2. This is the decision matrix for scenario 2. Here again, we can see that the most impactful strategies for strategy 2 is strategy 1 for singular strategy and strategy 1 and 2 for the combined strategy. And then here is the scenario 3 for decision matrix. We can see that again, in this scenario, the most impactful strategies are strategy 1 for the singular strategy, and the combined strategy is strategy 1 and 2.
Okay, so for the recommendation, we recommend the strategy 1 and the combination of strategy 1 and 2 are the best recommended we have. So next. So let's move on now to the summary of results from all the scenarios analyzed in this project. So the scenario 1, the impact is inflation change in customer preference. So the strategy is collaboration and tailored marketing. And for the scenario 2, the impact is growth potential, increase in demand. And the strategy is customer-centric coffee customization. And for the scenario 3, the impact is inflation and complexity and legal balancing. And the strategy is low-cost strategy. So back again with the key question. So how can Starbucks successfully execute its reinvention strategy to maintain its fundamental identity and achieve sustainable growth while striking a balance between workforce satisfaction, customer experience, and operational efficiency? So we recommend the action is strategy 1 and combination of strategy 1 and 2 are the best for business as usual and all scenarios. So the expected impact is the balanced growth with satisfied staff and improved customer experience and efficient operations. Okay. So moving on to the reflection. So the scenario analysis has been a critical tool in this project, providing us with the structured framework to navigate uncertainty and make informed decisions. So it's allow us to evaluate potential situations from various perspectives and uncertainties, helping us generate innovative out-of-the-box strategies. So scanner analysis offers a significant advantage. It helps foresee risks and problems that might otherwise remain undetected. This early detection enables better mitigation strategies and enhances our ability to respond effectively. So the advantage include the more structured decision making and broad detection on impact and uncertainty. And the last one is clear prioritization. So, okay, now in this slide, we compare this insight from the scanner analysis approach to those derived from the case study, highlighting key findings and differences in strategic methodologies. So the comparison reveals 5 major insights. The first one is structured company to uncertainty, quantitative insights for decision making, long-term resilience, and integration of regional customization. And the last one is a flexible and adaptive framework. So the scenario analysis approach. Scenario analysis provides a systematic framework to evaluate multiple future possibilities based on uncertainties like inflation, customer behavior shifts, or digital transformation. It uses quantifiable metrics to project the impact of strategies on profitability and operational efficiency. This approach emphasizes resilience, testing strategies under varying conditions to prepare for long-term challenges. Scanner analysis also supports regional or market-specific strategies, enabling tailored solutions to different customer needs or locations. Finally, for the flexible and adaptive, helping organizations anticipate and navigate dynamic market risks. Okay, so for the case study, on the other hand, the case study focuses on real-time responses to immediate challenges lacking a multi-scenario perspectives. Insights are largely qualitative, emphasizing market trends and invention needs, but not leveraging detailed quantitative projections. This approach operates tactically, focusing on immediate fixes rather than preparing for diverse potential outcomes. The fourth one is regional adjustments such as expansion in China or cold beverage introductions are present but don't stand for proactive scenario planning. So while Starbucks case study approach reflects adaptability, it doesn't offer the foresight provided by scenario analysis. By combining the strength of scenario analysis with the tactical case-based solutions, Starbucks can achieve a proactive resilience strategy that balances in immediate needs with the long-term growth opportunities. Okay, thank you everyone. So that's all from us. Thank you.